Hi, and welcome to our demo presentation in video form of Full Frame Systems version 2. Some of you will be seeing this after having used and become familiar with version 1, and some of you will, this will be new. So I'll try and balance those perspectives. If you would also like additional information or strategies, feel free to use the on-screen live demo appointment slot timing to secure that, and we'd be happy to walk you through this. This is not the most simple iMovie kind of concept. This is a little bit more involved because quite often there are very different workflows for different companies like yours. So we wanted to add a fair amount of flexibility. And what we've done is we've made that as simple and as intuitive as possible. So I'm going to start out with a high-level coverage, and then I'll dig a little bit deeper into configurations and setup of accounts. So what you're seeing here is Daniel Sterenberg is logged in as an admin to his dashboard. So this is the first thing that you will see once an admin has been logged in. And you can create different users in terms of your team. They can be employees or they can be contractors. And then ultimately clients will then be clients. So it's all the same login address. As you can see here, it's the prefix.v2.gofullframe. So whatever that prefix is, in our case, or in this demo case, it's Acme, because that's our account. You can also opt into a full white label domain. So it doesn't have to have V2 or GoFullFrame in the URL address. So what you can do here at this high level as logged in as this person is you can click on this indication that this is Daniel as admin logged in. If I click on that, it expands the profile or log out. So in terms of profile of your team members, we have 3 different subcategories. So what you'll notice is the left navigation pane are the primary pages, where the top nav are subgroups of each of those categories. So within that profile category, you've got profile, calendar, and scheduling. And the profile is your basic information, your address, your email address, what your permission levels are. These can be important. For instance, the address is important as a team member if you're using the scheduler, because we use location-based logic. And then if you like, you can add a user image. And we'll get to qualifications in a minute. In terms of calendars, each team member has a Google Calendar sync option with their full frame calendar. So as you can see here, I can link Daniel Google Calendar, and then it's a two-way sync. And I'll show you how that works in a second. And then within your other team members, you can decide who gets to share that information on that calendar with others. Since I'm an admin, I want to see all of the calendars, so all of these check boxes indicate that I can see everyone's calendar. And then the scheduling are the parameters set up by that's required by the scheduling module. And we'll also get to that in a minute. So I'm going to go back out of here. And what I want to do is show you the client's high-level perspective. So if you're logged in as a client, and I'm going to show you how you would do that as an admin, and I apologize for speaking so quickly, but hopefully you can go back and scrub back through parts of this that you want to hear again because you didn't catch everything. I also want to point out that here in the Resource Center link in this left nav, there are setup guides and FAQs and videos about each of the functionality that I'm speaking of. So let's go ahead into, first of all, if you, as an admin, you can create new clients from this perspective. If you want to see the client's perspective, because certainly not all of this functionality on the left nav, like setup, will be privy to their needs. So I'm going to go ahead and use this first icon on this row called the name. In this case, let me go into Berry Fish. And this first icon is a login as. So essentially, I can impersonate this client by just selecting that icon. And what you can see now is on this left nav at the top, I'm logged in as this client, Berry Fish. And as you saw by the first admin impersonation and now the client impersonation, we've created these dashboards that give you a very good high-level view of things like how many projects there are at this perspective, recently added projects. Here you can actually create, if you're an admin, featured services. So this is like a nice little advertising section, and you can create 3 of those. So also, if you click on, just like in admin, if you click on that client area or row on the left nav, it opens up the profile and the logout. So let me go quickly into the profile. Again, so we're high level, kind of working our way from the profiles as admin or client. And as you can see here, we also have 3 subcategories, and that's their profile. In other words, their user information, password, alternate contacts, etc. And then the next one is affiliations. So this would be all of their broker information. This is really important because it's required legally for them as agents to also list their brokerage information on their marketing collateral. And then here, there's individual options like pricing affiliation. You can create custom pricing groups, and we'll go into that. But if you base it on a code, then you can say, for instance, assign an office, team, or a brokerage to a specific pricing model that you can create. So that is how you would assign this agent to a particular pricing affiliation. And then also you can create an admin team member who would have access to other agents' projects. So this profile can either be that broker team admin, or it can be that broker team lower affiliate that the admin has access to. I'll keep moving, and I'll try and make this as short as possible. But really what I want to do here is give you the scope and flow of how all the software comes together. So I'm going to close this access to the profile and just show you here that from the dashboard, their only other options are to go in and see their projects. Then they can go ahead and edit a project or go in and view a project or create a new one. And here you're seeing that they've got an overview of where to access different functionality in this project group. In other words, the project on the left nav is the main category, and the top nav shows you these subcategories or features that you'll find within each of these categories. But to make it easier, if they're not familiar, they can find what function is they're looking for and go into that category. Or if they're familiar with it, they can go straight to any of these subcategories. So here would be their order form, and this is essentially, they've already created the order. So this is kind of an order summary. However, they can modify this or update this at any time. They can also see, if you're using the scheduler, who's been tasked with their needs. So you can add additional tasks if there's more than just a particular shoot. Maybe there's an additional function like adding certain marketing content, or maybe even doing some modifications like post-production, like changing the skies or adding images to the TVs, etc. So here they can also go in and edit their actual order. And we've broken down their order in packages and add-ons. So here would be the packages that you're offering them. In this case, there's 6 of them. You can have one or as many as you like. So they can modify their order here, or they can modify the add-ons here. And these are the a la carte services that you offer. And as you'll see coming up in my explanation, you can create as many categories and as many items as you like within each category. Moving on, this would be where they would access their media. In V2 or version 2, we don't just call them photos. You can actually add multiple types of media like PDFs or actual videos to a media gallery. So here they can sort them. They can assign a image to their property header. They can download them. And if they download them, they can choose print or MLS quality. The print is the original size. They can hide or delete photos. So here's their media management section. Then this next section, the property website, would be where they would either access the links to different versions of their property website, add a tracking code if they have their own analytics, change the property website template, or actually organize or rename the sections of the property website. And really quick, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and just call up the branded version. This was a pre-existing one. Let me close that tab. I'm going to call up the branded website. And here it's going to show you this particular template. So it's giving them a preview, essentially, of their property website. And so as you can see here, there are links at the top to the different sections, or they can scroll through the sections. You can create a a grid type view or a carousel type view. And you can also configure the slideshow in terms of the transitions, the speed of the transitions, and the music, as well as whether or not it autoplays. So by clicking on one of those grid images, it called up the slideshow. Sorry, I know this is tons of information. So I'm going to X out of the slideshow and go back to the property website. So we also allow you to embed any type of additional sections. Here we've embedded a Vimeo streaming video, and here they would see the map in satellite view. We also have a really cool sales product that we created that we call Nearby Places. This gives them an idea of the amenities and facilities in the area of the listing they're looking at. And then they can also view these by category. For instance, here are just the schools. And then lastly here, excuse me, is the contact section. Again, legally, the brokerage is required to have the same level or sizing of branding as the agent. And then if they wish to get in touch with you, they can use this contact form. So again, this is branded, so it's going to show the branding as well as your branding in the footer. If this were the unbranded version, then it would have no branding in it. That's per MLS requirements. So let me go back to out of the property website and back into the client view. You can also enable or disable their ability to create flyers. Here it shows the flyers already created. If they wanted to create a new one, they could create new flyer and then choose a template. And then once that template was selected, they would have the ability to edit it. All of these features are also the same on the admin side. And if you're coming from version 1, you'll be glad to see that these perspectives are now the same on both admin and client. So you don't need to potentially move to client to do any of this functionality. So, and so that's why it's okay for me to kind of go through in a little bit more detail on the client side some of these features. So here it's just a drag and drop and resize. This is not any different from version 1, although I wanted to just present it this way if you're new to the system. You can also return back to that perspective showing the completed flyers. Next, and if you're from version 1, you'll see that we've really organized these features much more intuitively because we knew all the features going in. We weren't just adding features along the way, as we have for the last few years. So the next subcategory would be billing. This is another really great new format for version 2. They have the ability to add their credit card without having to create a project. And we also have additional billing options for you that I'll show you in a minute. What we've done here is instead of having individually created invoices as an invoice history, we're creating that history within a single invoice. So as you can see here on the date side, we have different dates for those different changes that were made to the invoice. Then they can download it as a PDF or email the invoice, or you can email the invoice to them. And then finally, this is where they can share, or you can share to them, custom links. As you can see here, I've shared a floor plan link for their download option, or they can post to social media, and we've included the four most popular and common posting platforms. So that is the client's perspective. And now let me return, and this is also for your admin information, returning to the original user here, just below the account logo, gets you back to your admin perspective. So as you can see here, we've gone back to having all sorts of additional options because now you're an admin. Certainly you can see all of your account holders as the admin, or your clients, all of your projects and their status. Now let me get into really quickly the setup. So this is where you would now configure your account. So normally this would be a closed accordion and just say setup. So if you want to open up those options, you can view all of the categories within setup. Also, if you're on the dashboard, just like, for instance, the projects, you will be able to see all of those options that your client sees from their dashboard. So let's get into the first one. Account has the main account information, logos, favicon, which is that icon that shows up in the browser tab. And for those of you who are coming from version 1, you'll be very happy to see that you can now create thematic colors for your admin and client views. So a primary and secondary color. So these would be your branding colors. And then you can also create a warning color. So as you can see, these two different shades of blue are showing up here in terms of your navigation colors, your button colors, and your warning colors. So then here, some different options like business hours, your contact information, etc. Billing then would be your billing information, how you bill your clients in your terms of service. Here under features, that would be a much more organized version of version 1's on-off features. Here is where you modify any of the feature sets. For instance, you can modify which templates and media gallery settings will be in each new project, whether or not you're using the scheduler, your calendar options, etc. And let me just keep moving quickly through to My Team. This is your team member list. You can create new team members here. You can impersonate your team members. You can give them different roles. Just like I showed in the admin profile earlier, this would be where you would assign syncing to their Google calendars and set up their scheduling qualifications and user coverage areas. So I didn't go into that earlier, so let me just go ahead and go into an edit one and show you that here we've just made this a larger map and an easier to see and just more modern display. So you can create individual one or any number of coverage areas, and just to show you how easy it is, here is how you would create a coverage area. So you can create complex shapes. Then you can make some other adjustments, like whether or not there is a travel fee, and that can be base rate or per mile. So this is similar to version 1, but again, just showing you the higher level, not digging too deeply. Now let me keep moving. Here is pricing. This is where you would set up your pricing groups. You will be presented with a default pricing group to start, and that would be, and this can be copied to additional groups that you create. So then you can create additional groups either by region or by code affiliation. So in other words, that you can expand your business or create different pricing presentations by geographic area or by a personal or custom relationship that you might have with a team or a brokerage and assign them a certain code. As you can see here, you would then go into either the packages or the add-ons. Here, if you're from version 1, you'll see that you can now have any number of packages. And in addition, a nice feature is we've given you the ability to preview what that looks like to the client in the new order form. So this is in carousel form, either by these arrows or these like dots at the bottom. Same thing with add-ons. Here is a way of creating your categories and your items inside each category, and then just coming up here and then deploying the next day or two, there will also be a preview here. So that is the pricing left nav category, and then its 2 subcategories. And then finally, we allow you to create qualifications for the scheduler. In other words, if they order, for instance, a 3D scan, an interactive floor plan, you want to know that one of your team members or whoever they are qualified to fulfill that service. And this is where you would organize those users into who is qualified to do any of these qualification categories. Now, if you're coming from version 1, this is a much more intuitive and simpler system. So you would create the qualification categories, and then when you are configuring your packages, then you would actually then just assign which of those qualification categories relate to that tier of pricing. Also, if you're coming from version 1, you will see that we have added to our pricing strategies. So if you're creating a new package, you can create that package based on any of these particular pricing strategies. And in this particular case, it's based on number of photos. So we've created tiers of number of photos. That could be, for instance, by quantity, where then you can just give it a unit price. And then on any of those different strategies, you would assign different qualifications as well. So again, without getting too detailed, I'm already at 30 minutes into this video. Here are the options for qualifications and in general, the setup of the account. So that is a big old overview. We hope that you want to dive deeper into it. If so, please sign up for the 30-day free trial or utilize our button that allows you to make an appointment with us to have a little bit more of a customized, interactive discussion about these features with us. So I appreciate your time and have a great day. Bye-bye.